This is Shannon from sisforteachers.org. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about subtracting fractions. In this series, we'll be doing a variety of videos from subtracting fractions that have common denominators. We'll do it with uncommon denominators. We'll bring a little bit of mixed numbers in there, and we'll also use our friend Springling. So in our pattern blocks that we have here, we have this block that totals one whole, which is going to be our hexagon, and then over here we're going to have our trapezoid that's going to equal 1/2. We have our rhombus that's going to equal 1/3, and then we're going to equal the triangle to 1/6. And I have my new piece that I love, which is my 1/4 that comes in some of the new pattern block kits. So we're going to start off with something easy. It's important when you're first learning how to subtract fractions that we use it with concrete, pictorial, abstract means for kids to understand the concept of what we're doing. I like to always represent what we're doing with the whole as well. So I'm going to put my whole here, and I'm going to build my first number. And my first number here that I'm going to build, or my first fraction, is going to be 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3/4. These activities that we're showing today you can use with patty paper, you can do with area model paper. I'm just demonstrating this with our new fraction piece that we have, which is the fourths. And then students can easily see that these 3/4 represent what's the total of the fourth, and they're going to take away 1/4. So easily kids can see that the answer to this is 2/4. We want them to be able to see it visually. When you ask a child to reduce a fraction, what that means is by putting a simpler piece on top that will be, maybe this is using 2 pieces, could we put a piece on there that might just total 1? In this case, I know that I can put my red trapezoid on top, and that would equal to 1/2. What about if we have fractions that we're trying to subtract that might have a denominator, or maybe have the numerator that's larger than a denominator, which we call a fraction larger than 1. So let's try this example. If we were to look at 10/6, and maybe I'm going to try to build that first so you can kind of see it. I'll put it on top of the whole so you can see how we're building it. And so I'm going to put on my 10/6. Now, with knowing this, oftentimes we say this is an improper fraction because the top's larger, but is it improper if I'm really hungry and I want to eat 10/6 of the pizza? Not necessarily. It doesn't help kids understand what the fraction means when we say improper fraction. So we like to say a fraction larger than 1. While I'm building this fraction of 10/6, it's obvious I've filled up the one whole once already. So we know that this is a fraction that is larger than 1. So on here I have my 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10/6. So it's important for kids to have a visual or even a picture of what it is that they're building. Let's say in this case, I want to be able to take away an amount that we'll kind of look at to see how many we might have left. I might want to decide that I'm going to take away 7/6. 7/6 is greater than 1 because we know that the 6/6 equals this. So if kids understand in our previous videos that we've done with DC how to look at this is equal to 1 and 1/6, it's easier for them to kind of take away that part. So I'm going to take away the 1, which is my 6/6, and then I'm going to take away the 7/6. I'm now left over with 3/6. Is there another name or an equivalent fraction that we could put on top of here? Some kids might notice that we could put on top fourths. So is the answer still equal to 2/4? Let's check it out to see. We put this on top. This also could equal 2/4. What else could it equal? It also could equal 1/2. So all of these answers here are all equal to 10/6 minus our 7/6 to see how much it looks like. We also could look at this as even, a whole number, such as looking at it with 1 and 4/6 minus 1 and 1/6. Kids could see that easily as they're subtracting, going across, seeing that they're end up with the 3/6 to make that connection. It's really important when introducing fractions that you let kids kind of play and get the idea of what you're using with fractions. It's nice to start off with things that sort of subtract across instead of just going 3 minus 1 is 2 and keep the denominator the same. Some kids don't understand why the denominator is the same. So why in these examples, a great conversation to have in your classroom today would be, why are we keeping the fraction the same as we're subtracting? subtracting. When we look at the fraction completely done, why is it being reduced and look different? You want kids to be able to not just tell you abstractly how that looks, but to be able to show you with an example. We'd love for you in your classroom right now to be able to create lots of different fractions with common denominators that students can subtract. You can make those larger than 1 if you want to. You also could make them fractions that are smaller than 1. We'd love for you to comment on our YouTube channel on how this is going. This is a great video to use in your classroom as a flipped classroom video where students might get the idea of what they're going to be learning in a Math with the Teacher station. You also might use this video as your launch to talk about the subtraction of fractions and what we know about fractions to help us relate what we learned about addition and equivalent fractions to help us then understand what we're doing in subtraction. Thanks so much for joining us. Feel free to visit our website at SIS4teachers.org for tutorial videos on lots of great things for your classroom.